Welcome to my channel. I'm Gayle, and today we're going to honor the trees. We're going to do a tree pose flow. So tree pose involves a lot of balancing. It requires a lot of focus to move in and out of these transitions. So it will most likely be challenging for you because it's very challenging for me. But I think it's fun to have challenges sometimes and to just be able to laugh if you fall and try different things and know you're learning something new. Be willing to experiment, don't be hard on yourself, and just like have a lot of fun. So for this practice, you might want to have a couple of blocks or like a water bottle or something, and some kind of ball, like a tennis ball, or this is a yoga tune-up ball, or any kind of ball that you have handy to massage our feet. And you know, you can always have a blanket if you like to have a blanket for savasana or for some padding. But pause the video, get whatever you need, and we'll get started. So let's start on our backs. Just start by relaxing your body and noticing what parts of your back are touching the floor and what parts of your back have a little bit of space. So we're going to do a little bit of pelvic tilt to create more space and make less space. So begin by lifting your front hip bones up so that you create an arch under your back, and then lower those hip bones down and towards your feet so you flatten your back. And just go back and forth, nice and slowly, being aware of the motion of the pelvis, how that changes the shape of your back. Helps to start to warm up the spine. And our pelvis supports our whole body in an upright position, so needs to be very strong and stable. And how we tilt our pelvis will make a difference on our whole posture. So let your back just rest naturally. Let your shoulders kind of fall onto the floor. Bring your hands by your hips. Walk your feet in a little bit. So we're going to do some bridge pose lifts. So with your feet firmly planted, on your inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips up and reach your arms over your head. And as you exhale, start to slowly lower down. So just think of that we're getting the spine moving. Inhaling up. And exhaling lower. And we'll do this 3 more times. Just getting in sync with your breath. Getting some movement going in the spine. And loosening things up. Good, and lower down. Straighten your left leg and pull your right knee into your chest with your arms out to the side, and then externally rotate that hip. And just go from like a little bit of an internal rotation to an external rotation. Just getting into that hip joint. Notice I'm not letting my hip drop all the way to the floor, so I want to keep the opposite hip down and just see if I can externally rotate that hip. And then we'll bring our foot into tree pose on our backs. So it's going to be like gravity is going to want to pull your leg down, and unless you're super, super flexible, which I'm not, I mean, I'm pretty flexible, but not enough so that I could have my knee to the floor and my hips on the ground. So push your leg into your foot into your leg, and just notice like which parts of your back are on the floor. Notice if you're have an arch, too much arch under your back, and try and draw the ribs in. Flex your left foot, reach your arms over your head. And slide your right foot down your left leg. Bring your left knee up. Open your arms out to the side. And again, those same, just externally rotating the knee out and internally rotating the knee back to center a little bit. It's kind of a neutral rotation, but it's a little bit of internal, and just go back and forth. Then bring your foot to your inner thigh. You can use your hand to pull it up a little bit more. Press in firmly, flex your right foot, pull your ribs back so you feel your ribs are on the floor, and reach your arms over your head. Good, and slide your left foot down your right leg. Reach through your toes and your fingertips as you pull the ribs in. And bend your knees, roll over onto your right side, and rest the side of your head on the inside of your right arm. Bring your left foot up into tree pose again. Flex your right foot, pull your ribs in, create a little inner smile. And then if you keep your foot right in line with your hip, which is our goal right now, so not to have the foot forward so you're piked at the hips, or not to have the foot back so there's a little bit of a kickstand, but see if you can line your foot up right with your hips and your hand up right with the shoulders, and then reach your arm up so that you're in like a side lying tree pose. And see if you can find your balance here. So think of lifting your bottom leg up into your foot a little bit as you press down to your foot. And we'll just hold it here for a few more breaths. Maybe just one more breath. And then slowly slide your left foot behind you. Roll onto your back. Do whatever shifting you need to do. And we're going to roll onto the left side. And do the same thing on the left side. So trying to line up your body in a straight line with your left. You'll flex your left foot. Pull your right foot up to your inner thigh. Press into your thigh and lift your thigh up into your foot. Reach your right arm over your head. Find your balance here. And we'll slowly roll onto our bellies. Reach your left arm out to the side, pick your right leg up, and twist across to your left. And come back to center, and we'll switch sides. So lift your left leg up, reach it way across to the right. There might be a wall in the way. Find a nice twist. And come back to center. Lying on your belly, lift your chest up and come into child's pose. So stretch nice and long through your spine. Let your hips relax and your back relax. And then we'll bring some more spinal movement in. So as you inhale, round up, and exhale, stretch back. So inhale, puff up into your back like cat. And exhale, place a little arch in your spine like cow. And just see if you can move gently and easily with your breath. A couple more times. Stretch back into your child's pose again, and then walk your hands back. Bring your knees together. Bring your right hand behind your hip, and inhale, reach your left arm up to the sky and across. And then same thing, other side. So really stretching out the side body. A couple more times. And last time each side. Nice. Come back down to seated. And make your way back into downward facing dog. Maybe just pedal out through each foot, getting nice and long in your spine. But trying to keep kind of a flattish back, so not dumping your ribs or not over rounding, but just a nice long spine. And come up onto your tiptoes, walk your feet forward. Inhale, lift up halfway, and exhale, bow. Press down into the earth, inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. So how are you feeling so far? Okay, so it's important in these one-legged balancing poses to have good awareness of your foot and to have some good foot strength and mobility. So let's start by doing some big toe flexion, some foot flexion, toe flexion. So keeping your big toe mound planted, lift your heel up and lower it down. And you can play with just like how forward you can stretch your knee, how high your heel's willing to go up. Good, and then we'll do the other side. So lifting and lowering. Just kind of playing with the edge, but not trying to force it too much. And now we'll do some flexion, so plantar flexion of the foot. So we're gonna tuck our toes under and kind of press down and reach back. So you're anchoring your toes and you're pulling back. You wanna feel a stretch on the top of your foot. And you can do little pulses. It's very subtle. I'm just pressing into my foot a little bit more and releasing. And then you can play with keeping your toes tucked. How close can you get that heel to the ground? Feeling a big stretch on the top of the foot. And then you can release the toes. And we'll just lift the big toe up separately, lower it down, lift the other 4 toes up, and just kind of march back and forth. And if you've never done this before and it doesn't work for you, just play with it, and with practice it will come. And we'll do the same thing with the left foot. So tuck the toes, stretch forward. And you'd want to like try and find a stretch. So you might have to have your foot further back a little bit further forward. And notice where the stretch is. Like I'm getting a different stretch on this foot than my right foot. And then those little like really subtle pulses, just a little press and release. Not trying to force anything. And see if you can bring your heel down. It may not get to the floor. And then again, it might. Lift your toes up. And then we'll work the big toes and the little toes independently. And if you want to play, you can do both at the same time. So big toes up, other 4 toes up, back and forth. And then we'll take our tune-up ball and do a little massage. So we have 3 arches of the foot. We have the arch on the inside of the foot, the arch on the outside of the foot, and across underneath the metatarsal heads of each toe. So we want to try and massage all those arches. So you can gently roll the ball on the inner arch along the arch line, and then along the outer arch. And then you pin your heel and rotate your ankle, rolling the ball across the transverse arch. And this feels really good. It's massaging the fascia of the feet, getting them like nice and warmed up and supple and pliable and movable. And then I like to just like scribble, just kind of roll the ball all around in any direction that you want. You can go faster, you can go slower, you can try different pressures. And you can always hold on to a wall if doing this, balancing on one foot is a little bit tricky at this point. And then I'm gonna kind of move across the back of the arch. And step off the ball. Notice how it feels. That's a big part of yoga. It's always noticing the little subtleties, the little changes, the little shifts. And then we'll do the other foot. So you really don't have to do any particular order. This is just something that I've come up with for myself. Rolling the inner arch, the outer arch. The transverse arch. And just all around. Giving the foot like a nice massage, maybe slow it down. And then maybe massage like the back of the arch. Good. So move the ball off to the side. And just like I was saying, there's 3 arches of the foot. There's 3 points that define those arches. So there's the mound of the big toe, the mound of the pinky toe, and the center point of the heel. So when you stand, close your eyes and see if you can feel all those 3 points being evenly weighted. And this is a key to being able to balance. It's one of the keys. So just get that feeling in your, like in your whole body. And then inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, let your arms lower down. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, stretch over to the left. Inhale back to center and stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center a couple more times. Maybe release one arm down your side. Giving yourself a nice big stretch. Oh, this feels so good to me. Last time, last side. Then come back up and release your arms down. And we'll start to practice a little bit of tree pose kind of things. So as you inhale and reach up, bring your right leg up, your right knee up. And exhale, as you lower your hands, lower your leg. And shift to the other side. Inhale, left leg comes up, knee comes up, and exhale, lower down. And we'll do that again, each side. Inhale, reach up, pull that knee up nice and high, and exhale, lower down. And inhale up, and exhale, release. Just like we did on the floor, we're just gonna pull our leg up into tree pose, and exhale, lower down, and inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower down. One more time each side. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower. And we'll warm up with some nice sun salutations. So inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, melt your heart, plant your hands, step back into plank. Engage through your core, puff up into the space between your shoulder blades. Try and keep that space, keep that lift. You can lower your knees down or you can keep your knees lifted. So you can lower your knees all the way to the floor or keep them lifted. I would advise lowering the knees down. Actually, let's do this together for the first one. So lower the knees down and bend the elbows. See if you can keep the shoulders lifted into like a chaturanga, and then lower your hips down, curl up into a really nice, sweet cobra. And just start to shift your weight from hip to hip, getting a little gliding motion going. And lower your chest down. Bring your arms forward into like a Sphinx pose, so elbows under the shoulders. Relax through your chest, stretch out through your toes, and start to feel your back activating. We're gonna come into a forearm plank. So you can always keep your knees down, or you can tuck your toes and start to lift up from your belly, your hips, your thighs. Press into your hands. Breathe. Smile. Practice getting stronger. You can come out at any time, or you can just kind of test yourself and see if you can hold this plank pose. Good, and then slowly lower down. Rest your forehead on your hands. Pick your feet up and gently windshield wiper your feet from side to side. We'll see if we can do this in with a tree pose position. So pull your right foot up into your thigh. Come onto your forms again. Tuck your toes and lift up. I'm not going to hold this very long because I can't. Lower down and stretch out your legs. Take a little rest. Maybe feet go from side to side. And we'll try it on the other side. So pull your left leg in. Maybe grab that foot, bring it up a little bit higher so you can really press into that leg and then lift up into your form with tree pose. And slowly lower down. Release your foot. Curl up into your cobra. And extend forward. Tuck your toes. And make your way into downward facing dog. And just play around here. Bend one knee at a time. Stretch it out. Maybe move your hips from side to side. Then step your left foot in a little bit, reach your right leg up, stretch out through your toes, hug your knee into your chest. Bring your shoulders forward, keep pulling your knee up. Step your foot forward to your hands, and then inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Interlace your fingers except for the index fingers and stretch over to your right. And inhale back to center. Stretch over to your left. Inhale back to center. Release your hands and step back. Downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Interlace the fingers except for the index fingers and stretch over to the left. Inhale back to center. Stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center. Release your hands, lower down. And downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, and you can either step forward or hop forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow. Pressing down, rise up with your breath. And exhale, hands to your heart center. Close your eyes. Feel your foundation. Feel your breath. And then we'll try a little fun with tree pose. So we did all this like side bending, standing, and in our lunge. Let's see if we can do it in tree. It's actually very challenging for me, so I have to move slowly with a lot of focus and control. So bring your right leg up into your tree pose position and hug into the midline. Reach your arms up. Take a big breath here and establish your foundation. Pull those ribs back. Like hug into the midline, find your center. Then start to stretch over to your left. So you got to shift your ribs, shift your weight a little bit to the left to counterbalance the arms, reaching over. And then come back to center. Whoa. See, you got to laugh a little bit. Come back to center, and we'll stretch over to the right. So try and keep a nice long line through your extended side. Maybe reach your hand to your knee. And come on back up to center. Let go. Okay, so this is my practice, you know. It's like I fall, I get up, I laugh, I experiment again. Kind of think, well, what went wrong there? What went right? Or what did I learn? Maybe you learned that I'm not perfect, I can't do everything all the time that I want to do. So we'll do the same thing other side. So pull your left leg up into tree. Reach your arms up. Take a moment. And then start to stretch over to the right, away from your tree leg. And come back to center. Then we'll stretch over to the left. Maybe reach your arm down, whoa, to your leg. Okay, so for me, I have to like start over again. Reach your arm down to your leg. And come on back up. And release. Okay, so just kind of circle around the hips. Maybe we'll try that again. Okay, because see if we learned anything. I mean, I've been practicing this a bit today and still having problems. So you never know when like you're gonna have that moment where everything kind of comes together. So bring your right leg up again. I'm gonna do very little talking this time. I just want you to feel it for yourself. All right, so that was one leg. I don't know where you're at, so you can pause the video. You can join me wherever you're at. Just take your time and we'll try the other side. So like I said, this takes a lot of concentration for me. Where your gaze is, how you shift your weight. All right, so I did much better on the second time. How about you? Whatever happened, happened, and it doesn't really matter in the big scheme of things. What matters is like your ability to get back up after falling down and to have a little sense of humor. So we're gonna incorporate some tree poses into our flow. So start in Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhaling, reach your arms up, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen through your spine. Exhale, place your hands down, step back into plank. So you can lower your knees down like we did the first time, or you can keep them lifted. Lower down with resistance. So resist the pull of gravity to go fast. Open up into your cobra. And then exhale down. Tuck your toes. Press back, downward facing dog. So inhale, reach your right leg up. Exhale, step it forward into a lunge. Inhale, rise up. Crescent lunge. And we're gonna come into our first tree pose in this flow. So lean your weight forward. Bring your left leg up into tree. And then lean forward again, reaching back with your toes. Crescent lunge. Exhale, hands down. Then step back, downward facing dog. Left leg. Reaching your leg up, bring it forward into your lunge. Crescent lunge, rise up. Take a big breath in and then shift your weight forward, bringing your right leg up into tree pose. And reach back, coming back into crescent lunge, and back into downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, and hop or step forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow. Pressing down, rise up toward the sky. And exhale, hands to your heart. So we're gonna play with a little movement from tree pose. So we're gonna come into tree and step forward, back into tree, step out to the side, back into tree, and do a little curtsy behind us and back into tree pose. We'll inhale, reach your arms up, bringing your leg up. And then exhale, step forward. Inhale, back into tree. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale, back up into tree. Exhale, reach behind, do a little curtsy. And back up into tree pose. Other side. Bring your left leg up, reaching your arms up, and then step it forward and back and to the side and back, and a little curtsy and back and lower down, hands to your heart. Sun salutations. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow. And I forgot to mention, but here's where you might want to have a block on each side of your mat. So it's up to you. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow. Place your hands, step back to plank. And back to downward facing dog. Step your left foot in a little bit, reach your right leg up. Step your foot forward into your lunge. Rise up, crescent lunge. And then exhale, warrior three. Good, and come into tree pose from warrior three. Good, and then release your leg back into warrior three. Bring your hand to the block or to the floor and open up, half moon. Then look down toward the floor if you were looking up. Come back up into tree pose. And step back into your lunge. And downward facing dog. Left side. Reach the left leg up and step it all the way forward to your lunge. Inhale, rise up. Crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior three. Come back up to tree pose. Back to warrior three. And into half moon. You can always be using a block. And back up into tree pose. And step back, crescent lunge, and downward facing dog. Look towards your hands, bend your knees, and lightly hop or step forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow. Press into the earth. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, hands to your heart. So we'll add one more thing. We'll add a standing split to the last flow that we did. Starting at Tadasana, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, plank. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot in, reach your right leg up. Bring your leg forward. Crescent lunge. Rise up. Come forward into warrior three. And up into tree pose. Release back to warrior three. Half moon. With or without your plant. So open up, keep the top leg really strong, open up through your chest, through your heart. So from half moon, lower your top hand down, lift your bottom leg up, standing splits. And bend both knees, pull both knees into your chest. So you can come back up into tree pose. And back to crescent lunge and downward facing dog. Left side, so reach your left leg up, step it forward. Rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, warrior three. Half moon. Open up. And lower your top hand down. Reach your leg up for standing splits. Bend both knees. Press back up. Bringing your foot up into tree pose. Or as close as you can get it. And then reach back, crescent lunge. And downward facing dog. Come up onto your toes, walk your feet forward, and we'll come into a squat. So lower your hips down into a squat. And just hang out here for a little bit. You can circle your weight around your feet. And then we'll lower our hips to the floor, come onto our backs again. And just do some nice, easy stretches, poses to relax after that, somewhat demanding, challenging tree pose flow. So stretch your arms over your head, lift your feet up into the sky, and start to just circle your ankles. Nice and slowly. Keeping your legs as still as possible and rotating around the ankles. Reverse the direction of your circles. And then flex your toes toward your knees and stretch your toes away from your knees and just go back and forth. And lower your left leg down. Take your left hand across the outside edge of your leg, wherever it'll reach. Maybe you can reach your foot. Reach your right arm out to the side. Now without rolling to your right side, just open your leg out to the right. So you're stretching your left arm across your body, but not trying to roll the hips. And then from here, we'll bring our leg across all the way to the floor or to a block or some kind of padding. And we'll just hang out here for a little bit. Relaxing your whole body, getting a nice twist in the upper body. Making any little modifications that you need. And if you want to here, this is something I really like to do. You can bend your left knee, take your right hand, find your left foot, pull your heel into your hip. And get a nice quad stretch in your left leg, along with a hamstring stretch in your right leg. If you were holding your foot, release your foot. Bring your left leg back up. And lower it down. We'll do the same thing with the left leg. So bring your left leg up in the air. Take your right hand across, finding whatever part of your leg you can reach. And start to open your leg out to the side without shifting. So I'm not trying to shift like this. I'm trying to keep the hips grounded. Just open the leg out, getting a nice stretch across the back here. And bring your leg across, seeing if you can move slowly and with control so you don't just plop down. And just come down nice and slowly. And rest here. If your left shoulder isn't touching the floor, instead of trying to force it down, just think of relaxing into that shoulder and seeing if it will release with the breath. So a lot of things we think we have to push into everything and make it happen, but sometimes it's the letting go is when things start to shift and change. If you want to hold your foot, you can bend your right knee, reach with your left hand for your foot. I like to try and pull my knee back, kind of trying to line it up with my hip. You can hold this stretch for a bit if you like. And release your foot if you're holding it. Bring your left leg back up. Release your foot and come into a full happy baby. And just rock gently from side to side. And bring the soles of your feet together. Interlace your fingers along the outside edge of your foot. Let your knees open up. And the more your knees open and reach away from your shoulders, the more the shoulders are going to get a nice stretch. And release your feet. Bring your feet as wide or wider than the mat, arms out to the side. And just a really slow, gentle windshield wiper pose, seeing how close you can get your knees to the floor. It's not necessary to bring your knees to the floor, but it might feel really good. And last side. Come back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze and stretch out for Savasana. Let everything relax. Ribs to the floor, back to the floor, whole back body resting on the floor. And notice those little spaces underneath the neck, the back of the neck, underneath the low back, underneath the knees, and underneath the ankles. And everything else relaxing into the ground, into the earth. Rooting down. Stay here as long as you like. Savasana is just as important as all the other poses, but a lot of times, myself included, I just feel like, oh, I don't have time for Savasana. You know, I did the workout part, I did the challenging part, and for those of us that tell ourselves that, And then maybe Savasana is our biggest challenge, slowing down, taking time, connecting with your breath. Connecting with the experience of this practice. Thank you so much for joining me with this practice. Please hit the like button if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Tell your friends. And I would love to hear from you in the comment section. Have a great day. Namaste.